Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And that breaking news is about a shooting. Police say a homeowner shot a man in southeast Raleigh. What we know about what police say started as a burglary call.
And from temperatures in the 30s to the 70s, I'll show you what's changing with our weather pattern to bring the warmth back.
And race to reopen. Lawmakers were on Capitol Hill into the early morning hours as the House considers a bill to end the shutdown, how long it will take for some crucial services to return to normal. That is a big story again this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Ken Smith. The other big story were those northern lights that can be seen
know,
all in so many
beautiful.
states and even in Hyco Lake. Love that. Let's get over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Weather Center because look at that.
Beautiful, so gorgeous. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is coming up in just a little while to show you a bunch of pictures and explain why we could maybe see it again tonight. One of the reasons we were able to see it last night was because the skies were clear, and we'll see that again tonight. This high pressure system rotating clockwise is pushing warm air in and helping to keep our skies clear for the next several days. Temperatures are starting to warm up now. It's 36 in Clinton and 37 in Roxborough, but elsewhere, for the most part, temperatures are starting to creep into the low 40s. It is breezy out there. Winds are steady out of the southwest at 5 to 15 miles per hour. And that flow from the southwest will help to warm things up, but it's also bringing us a little bit of a wind chill to start with. So it still feels like low to mid 30s out there with the wind chill. Taking a look at downtown Raleigh from our Jimmy V camera, you can see plenty of people out and about now that it's 8 o'clock. The flags are flying around out there and everybody's bundled up pretty well. Southwest wind at 10 and our temperature at 40 degrees. We do climb into the low 60s for this afternoon compared to mid 40s from yesterday. We'll continue that warm up on into the weekend, Ken.
Well, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. I know we're working on the focus of this MCDOT cam, but you get the picture. Those westbound lanes are moving away from us. It got a little jammed up there on the southern loop of the Beltline. You're looking at an 11-minute delay. The thing is, if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, you have no delays between Highway 36 and the Beltline. But once you get to that southern loop, you see running into that delay. The northern loop of the Beltline is no different. From the 87-440 split, you're looking at a 13-minute delay. We're also seeing some congestion easing a little bit on I-87 and there in Nidell near the Smithfield Road exit. You can see traffic moving at a nice steady clip, but that's what we expect this time of the morning. In terms of the big picture, now let's start in Apex. You're coming in from Apex right now. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown around Highway 55. You're looking at a 9-minute delay. We're also seeing some delays on I-40 eastbound around the I-540 and I-40 split coming eastbound. So that's another 9-minute delay. The other troubled spot, Wake Forest. You're coming in on US 1. You're looking at an 11-minute delay. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. This morning, Raleigh police say a homeowner shot a man at his home. Police say the shooting happened around midnight on Rose Lane in southeast Raleigh. Ali Calabar is outside Southeast District Police Station in the WRAL breaking news tracker for us. And Ali say police say this was a burglary call.
Michelle, and right now police are sorting through all of that evidence, trying to figure out what happened in that house on Rose Lane during this burglary. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. It shows officers and forensics gathering evidence there. We know from police that the homeowner shot a man and that man was seriously hurt. We've even listened to police radio traffic, which indicates he was shot in the torso and the head. We're working to confirm this. Also, police say that no one was arrested. And so we are asking police these questions today, all about if the homeowner and the person who was shot are related or know each other. Also, what led up to this shooting and how is this house targeted during this burglary? We're going to keep you updated. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
Well, new this morning, we're entering day 43 of the government shutdown, but it appears the shutdown could end. Lawmakers are getting closer to a final approval on a bill that would reopen the federal government. Well, early this morning, the House Rules Committee voted to advance the funding package the U.S. Senate approved. The House still has to approve rules for a debate before it can be voted on, though. That could happen as early as tonight. Well, airport travelers are watching the progress being made to end this government shutdown, which has forced a large number of cancellations and delays. WR's Laura Levine is live at the airport this morning. And even if the shutdown ends very soon, Laura, we're going to still see a ripple effect at airports like RDU.
Officials are really warning that. Ken, good morning. So here at RDU right now, we're seeing about 10 cancellations and only a few delays. You can see TSA behind me moving pretty good here. Off to a great start. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy on yesterday urged Congress to quickly pass the bipartisan bill that would end the government shutdown and the flight disruptions that have plagued the country for nearly a week. As of Tuesday afternoon, more than 1,200 flights within the U.S. had been canceled and more than 2,000 flights had been delayed. This comes as it's been 43 days since air traffic controllers and TSA workers have gone without a paycheck. Barring a last-minute change, the flight reduction by the FAA is supposed to increase to 8% on Thursday and 10% by Friday. We spoke to a traveler here at RDU who travels a lot for work, and he says he's become accustomed to the flight disruptions at this point.
I'm kind of desensitized to the whole thing. You know, I've been stuck all over the place in places you don't want to be, maybe, right? And so for me, it is what it is. If I walk up there and there's nobody to let me in, then I'll just go home.
So that bipartisan bill still needs to be passed by the House and then signed by President Trump. Meanwhile, officials here saying that even if the government shutdown ends by the end of this week, we will likely still see some issues here at airports because it'll take time for airlines to completely recover. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live at RDU.
And here in the WRAL Live Center, still keeping my eye on delays and cancellations here from FlightAware. You'll see it tracks all things from around the world. Total delays looking like around 8,605. But specifically, cancellations within, into, or out of the U.S. today, 883. We can sort of come down a little bit to RDU. She was just talking about a little bit, kind of reflecting the number of cancellations and delays there. And then lastly, let me talk about the delays and cancellations from this perspective, the misery map, right? It seems that whereas before in New York and over in Chicago, or RDU, as you see there, the red was actually half of that circle, that semicircle, but now it looks like things are mostly kind of back to where they were for the most part, but still not 100% improved. But keep in mind, as Laura was just talking about, there is a possibility that even after the government shutdown ends, we could still see delays way past Thanksgiving, even into Christmas.
All right, Chris, thank you. And with the possible end to the shutdown in sight, Governor Josh Stein laying out what the state is doing to help food banks that have felt the strain of all 40-plus days. Governor Stein said Lieutenant Governor Rachel Hunt, they were volunteering at the Food Bank of Eastern and Central North Carolina in Raleigh. And while they were there, the food bank was presented with a $3.3 million check to continue providing resources for people in the area. Since January, the CEO says they've seen a need that they have not experienced in a generation, and it's only getting worse.
Since the shutdown, we've seen a drastic increase in need from both our federal workers who are going without paychecks and now from the SNAP delays. We are very hopeful that SNAP will be reinstated in full by the end of the month, but we know that it's going to take time for people to catch up after these delays have happened.
Having hungry Americans is a choice that the federal government is making. That is the wrong choice.
In response to the freezing of SNAP benefits, the governor's office and private partners have also provided nearly $22 million to North Carolina food banks. And we will be following all of the latest developments on the efforts to end the shutdown. For up-to-the-minute news and push alerts, you can download the WRAL News app.
Well, happening today, tuition may be going up for undergraduate students at UNC Chapel Hill. And that's where we find WRAL's Kelsey Coffey this morning. Kelsey, the Board of Trustees is meeting today to talk about what could be the first increase in 8 years.
Yes, Ken, thousands of students are already waiting to find out if they've been accepted to UNC for next school year. Today, the Board of Trustees will discuss whether those students will be paying higher tuition rates. Right now, the board is considering a 3% tuition increase for in-state undergraduates. That's the max that's allowed under state law. They're also discussing a 10% tuition increase for out-of-state graduate students. Similar conversations are happening at NC State. They're considering upping their tuition by 3% for both graduate and undergraduate students. UNC has kept the same tuition cost since 2017. The Board of Governors has prioritized keeping rates flat for years. Lawmakers are still working on finalizing a state budget. Brian Murphy with WRAL Investigates explains how the House and Senate's negotiations could impact college tuition fees.
Both sides in their plans indicated that they would cut higher education funding and that the schools would have to make up for it with some tuition increases.
That 3% tuition increase would raise tuition by $211 a year at UNC. And then the 3% increase would raise tuition at NC State by $196 a year. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News. I'm in Chapel Hill.
A person is in jail this morning after a fight outside a bar in Raleigh. This happened on Glenwood Avenue near West Peace Street. Police say two men got into a fight outside a bar. One of them ended up with a cut on their back from a knife. He needed stitches. The suspect is charged with assault causing serious bodily injury.
A mother in Butner says she was unaware she was feeding her child formula that's part of a recall over botulism concerns. Now she knows. The company By Heart announcing a nationwide recall of its formula Monday. Health leaders say at least 15 babies have become sick. Now there's another case in our state being investigated. A mother we spoke with says she learned of the recall just moments after feeding her 8-month-old child.
Right now, it's just watching for any of the symptoms, and hopefully it's nothing.
Hopefully it is nothing. Doctors say parents should look for signs of paralysis, poor feeding, and trouble breathing. Symptoms can appear a few days after the baby is exposed.
Honoring a fallen officer as people remember the Wake Med police officer killed in a shooting this weekend. People who knew the suspect are raising questions about what happened.
And a bright night sky. How last night may not have been your only chance to catch a glimpse of the northern lights.
Boy, the sunshine here on the patio feels great right now, but we're definitely looking at cool temperatures and a little bit of a wind chill out there. Currently, our temperature is 40 in the triangle, but it feels like 33. On the patio here, it's still okay. I'm going to show you why it's going to be so much warmer this afternoon than yesterday coming up.
And here are your winning Mega Millions numbers: 10, 13, 40, 42, 46. The gold Mega Ball is won. No jackpot winner last night. Friday night's drawing will be $965 million.
Taking a look at our temperatures this morning, we've warmed up a little bit. We had temperatures in the mid 30s to right around 40 this morning. So still looking at 40 in Durham, 40 in Raleigh, and 40 in Fayetteville. Beautiful sunshine out here on the patio this morning. And unless the wind is blowing, it does feel fairly comfortable. If you're about to head out the door to walk the dog, though, it's still feeling like mid 30s, especially if you're in a shady spot. If that's where your walk takes you, you may want more of a heavy jacket. Temperatures by lunchtime are in the upper 50s, and we'll see highs in the low 60s this afternoon. That's much warmer than yesterday when we only hit the mid 40s. I'll show you what's fueling our warm up and how long it could last coming up.
Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We're keeping an eye on this northern loop of the Beltline. These are the westbound lanes moving away from us as we take a live look at I-440 and New Bern Avenue this morning. So let's widen out the picture for you and give you the entire loop of that northern side of the Beltline, starting around the I-87-440 split. You can see the slowdown is between there and Capitol Boulevard. It begins to clear up around Capitol Boulevard right now. But I have some more drive times coming into Raleigh and Wake County from some of our major routes.
All right, thank you, Ken. As the community remembers a Wake Med police officer killed in a shooting over the weekend, people who knew the suspect are raising some serious questions. There was a procession for Officer Roger Smith yesterday. He was shot and killed on Saturday at the Wake Med Garner Healthplex. Investigators say it happened during a struggle in the lobby. Smith was a father and a grandfather and an officer for more than 30 years. Police charged Benji Martin Jr. with murder. Martin's friends say the accusations are out of character. They're demanding more information.
We want to see what really happened, because Benji is not that type of person. He's a good kid, man, you know, and has no background, no record, no anything.
Police say Martin was also shot during that struggle. He will be taken to jail once he's out of the hospital. Police still have not said what led to that shooting. Meanwhile, the Carolina Hurricanes will honor Officer Smith at Saturday night's game at Lenovo Center. They will also host his family. In Smith's obituary, it said he was a huge Carolina Hurricanes fan and never missed a game if he could help it.
Well, a new wall is paying tribute to dozens of people associated with UNC Chapel Hill's football program over the years who have served in the military. All 61 of their names are now etched into this installation unveiled today at Keenan Football Center. The wall details the name of each honoree, their branch, and years of military service, as well as position and years with the UNC football program.
So to be anywhere on that wall is a huge deal, one that I will take with me for the rest of my life, and I hope my kids and grandkids have a chance to come up here and see it.
And we thank you for your service, sir. The goal is for this wall to expand as more alumni are identified and as more alumni complete their military service in the years to come.
New this morning, another Kennedy may soon be heading to Washington, D.C. Jack Schlossberg announced that he is running for Congress. Schlossberg is the grandson of John F. Kennedy. He is running as a Democrat to replace retiring Congressman Jerry Nadler in New York. In his announcement, Schlossberg focused on affordability while criticizing President Donald Trump. Multiple Democrats have already announced bids for Nadler's seat in the upcoming primary.
Well, the Department of Justice says it's investigating protests outside a Turning Point USA event at the University of California, Berkeley. The demonstration started peacefully but turned violent when some protesters got into fights with police. 2 people were arrested. Attorney General Pam Bondi says the FBI is now investigating. The Turning Point USA event was the last stop on the organization's calendar 2 months after co-founder Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
The northern lights were beautiful and bright across the night sky for millions last night. Meteorologist Chris Michaels barely got any sleep, Chris, while tracking them. I don't blame you. We might get another chance to see them tonight.
Looks like we do have another chance at least. And this is what's wild to me is I had pictures sent everywhere from Manitoba and Nova Scotia to Mississippi and Florida. It goes to show, number one, the good that comes from social media. Number two, just how widespread an event this was. Let's take it a step further. A follower of mine on TikTok sent me this from Melbourne, Australia. So here's how this all comes to be. You've got what's called these coronal mass ejections, fancy term for a solar flare. What that does is it interacts with the Earth's magnetic field. We call that a geomagnetic storm. That's what allows the aurora to be seen. So the stronger that storm, the farther south it could be. And experts are saying this could be a G4 geomagnetic storm. What that means is it could be seen in North Carolina again this evening after sunset. It peaks around midday, so we just needed to maintain that intensity as we head into the evening. So start after sunset, looking north away from city lights, and especially use your phone's night mode and set the exposure to 10 seconds. We've got all the details on just how far south this could be seen and why we're seeing more of these instances right now on WRAL.com. But Elizabeth's out on the weather patio right now. Thankfully, it looks like we'll have a clear sky for this.
It was so nice to have those clear skies last night. It's the same high pressure system that helped to bring us the clear skies and the cold temperatures yesterday that will reverse our winds for today and help our warm up. That high pressure system sitting down south, rotating clockwise like this, is finally starting to push some warm air from the west down along the Gulf Coast right into our area. So we had a big trough of low pressure that was helping to drag down that cold air from Canada. And now we'll see a low pressure system moving away, the high building in, and that's going to help to really warm up our temperatures. I mean, look at the west side of that. Look at the colors back there. That yellow and orange shaded area moves almost up to the Canadian line. So everybody on the East Coast is going to have a big warm up on the way. Seasonal temperatures resume really today and tomorrow with temperatures in the mid 60s, and then we could be in the 70s over the weekend. Right now, heading out the door, it's chilly, 39 in Roxborough, 38 in Clinton, low 40s pretty much elsewhere. The wind chill is making it feel like low to mid 30s right now. The sunshine, I'll tell you, is making it feel pretty good out there. Winds are out of the southwest, so any wind today actually should help our warming process. Right now, winds southwest at about 5 to 10, but gusting. We had a gust up just a second ago. It looks like it just dropped off. But check out these warmer temperatures, all the way to 68 on Friday and 70s on Saturday and Sunday. I tell you, as cold as it was yesterday, I thought maybe we're done. Maybe we're not going to see any more 70s, but I'm excited to see it over the weekend. Why the back and forth with our temperatures? Well, a lot of that's due to the jet stream. When the jet stream sinks this time of year, The cold air comes down from the north. When the jet stream lifts back to the north, the warm air is able to creep up underneath it. And so this time of year, that jet stream is very active and tends to bring us some big changes. How about some changes in terms of precipitation? We had a couple of systems that we were watching with some chances for rain on Sunday and Monday. Now it looks like both of those will be too far north, and our forecast for rainfall through the end of the week is really minimal. Enjoy that weekend. It's a little cooler Monday and Tuesday, but still feeling quite comfortable.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We're staying on that northern loop of the Beltline. You can see I-440 and New Bern Avenue. Those are the westbound lanes moving away from us. And that's the usual bumper-to-bumper traffic that we see this morning. So if we widen out the picture, show you the entire loop starting at the 87-440 split. You can see the real jam up is between that and Capitol Boulevard. It begins to clear up just a little bit around Six Forks Road, and it's clear sailing all the way over to Wade Avenue. That southern loop of the Beltline, yes, we continue to work on the focus on this camera. I-40 on Lake Wheeler Road, but you get the picture, the usual morning congestion that we see on that southern loop of the Beltline. It's actually getting better. It was in the double digits a little while ago, but right now you're just looking at a 9-minute delay if you're coming in on that southern loop of the Beltline. If you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County this morning, you're just looking at no delays whatsoever between Highway 36 and the Beltline. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. Answering your tax questions, from charitable giving to home energy credits, 5 on Your Side explains what you need to know before filing. Plus, ICE in North Carolina. Border Patrol agents are heading to Charlotte this morning. How these operations are differing from ones in other major U.S. cities.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Another chilly start out there. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on the WRAL weather patio. But Elizabeth, it's going to be warmer today than it was yesterday.
Yesterday's high was 46 degrees. I mean, that's colder than our average high in January. So nice to see a little bit of a warm up today. It is beautiful out here in Sanford, looking at gorgeous skies. Temperatures are now climbing into the upper 30s to low 40s. 40 in Durham, 38 in Holly Springs, 39 in Garner, 41 in Rocky Mount. After school practices will feel much warmer. Instead of mid 40s, we'll climb to 61, 62 around 3 or 4 o'clock right after school is out. And then during the evening, we're still in the mid 50s. The warm up continues for the weekend. I'll show you what it'll feel like coming up.
All right, happening now. We're staying on top of that southern loop of the Beltline. Those are the westbound lanes, the rear view lights moving away from us this morning. And that's the usual congestion we see this time of the morning. You're looking at a 6-minute delay, just a 6-minute delay at that southern loop of the Beltline. If you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County this morning, no delays whatsoever between Highway 36 and the Beltline. But other than that, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown around Aviation Parkway and I-40 eastbound in 8 minutes if you're coming in from US 1 in Wake Forest. I'll have another update at the bottom of the hour over on Fox 50.
All right, thank you, Ken. Raleigh police are investigating after they say a homeowner shot a man during a burglary. The shooting happened on Rose Lane around midnight. Police say the man was taken to a trauma center. UNC and NC State are considering upping tuition fees. This comes as state lawmakers consider funding cuts for higher education. UNC is considering a 3% tuition for in-state undergraduates and a 10% increase for out-of-state graduate students. Next on Fox 50, another day of travel headaches as lawmakers try to reopen the government. And coming up on Today, a one-on-one with Claire Danes on The Beast in Me.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news right now at 8:30, a burglary investigation underway. Raleigh police say a homeowner shot a man early this morning. What we're learning about that man's condition.
And it's beautiful out here at the gardens right now. Our skies are clear. Temperatures are on the chilly side, but I'll show you why. We're in for a big warm up starting this afternoon.
Also, shutdown showdown. Members of the U.S. House expected to vote today to reopen the government. What that would mean for SNAP benefits and flight disruptions.
Plus, possible tuition hikes. UNC trustees set to discuss raising the price to attend the university today, the reason behind the hikes and when they would go into effect. We have all of that for you, including this spectacular view on your Wednesday morning. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
Yeah, we got so many pictures from our viewers, including this one right here
pretty.
that came in overnight. So many wonderful, beautiful pictures. And this one, by the way, is from Carolina Trace Country Club right there in Sanford.
It is just, it looks fake. It doesn't even look real.
Picturesque.
It is.
Looks like a postcard.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, let's get outside to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on the WRAL weather patio. Another pretty view out there, Elizabeth.
It is, you know, it's just a different kind of view, but definitely feeling nice out here. We're taking a live look at the gardens right behind us. So skies were clear last night so that you could see the aurora borealis. And tonight there's a possibility again. And meteorologist Chris Michael is coming up in a little while to talk more about that. At least the skies will be clear. High pressure rotating clockwise is helping to feed some warmth up from the Gulf Coast into our area today. So we'll see a big jump as compared to yesterday. Right now, our temperature is 40 in Fayetteville, Clinton, Raleigh, Durham, 40 in Goldsboro, 42 up in South Hills. We're starting to see those temperatures creeping up. It is breezy, just like it was yesterday, but it's a southwesterly wind now. And so gradually that will warm us up. Our wind is around 5 to 10 miles per hour. It's making it feel like low to mid 30s, but again, it'll feel a little bit better as we head through the afternoon. Temperature 40 degrees right now with that southwest wind at around 10 miles per hour, and we climb to 62 for this afternoon. Temperatures in the afternoons will continue to climb until we hit the 70s again. I'll show you when coming up. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We'll stick with that southern loop of the Beltline. Right now, we're not seeing any delays if you're looking at I-40 and Rock Quarry Road. But once you get past the Rock Quarry Road exit, you get closer to South Saunders and maybe Lake Wheeler. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown. And that's why you're seeing there's a 4-minute delay on that southern loop of the Beltline. No delays if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County between Highway 36 and the Beltline this morning. That northern loop of the Beltline, this is the usual morning congestion that we see this time of the morning. Those are the westbound lanes moving away from us. And so if we look at the really big picture in terms of right here, the 87 Beltline interchange, the real jam up is between that and Capitol Boulevard. It sort of clears up after you get past Capitol Boulevard, but right now you're looking at a 7-minute delay all the way over to Wade Avenue. In terms of the big picture, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown around Aviation Parkway coming in on I-40 eastbound. Similarly, the other troubled spot is US 1 coming in from Wake Forest. You're looking at a 10-minute delay. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. Right now, Raleigh police are investigating a shooting that left a person seriously hurt during a reported burglary. Police say a homeowner shot a man on Rose Lane in southeast Raleigh around midnight. Police cleared that scene around 4:30 this morning. Ali Calabar is live at the Raleigh Police Department in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker for us this morning. Ali, we're learning that man shot is in stable condition.
And that man was seriously hurt. Within the past 5 minutes, Michelle, we did hear back from Raleigh police. They say they don't have any updates at this time, which means that Raleigh police are still investigating and going through that evidence, trying to figure out what happened during this burglary. This video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows forensics investigators gathering evidence at this home. We know from Raleigh police that the homeowner shot a man at this home. We know that man was seriously hurt. We also know Raleigh police say that no one has been arrested, and so today we are asking Raleigh police these questions. Did the homeowner and the man who was shot know each other? Also, what led up to this shooting, and why was this home targeted in this burglary? So we are going to keep you updated. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
A person is in jail this morning after a fight outside a bar in Raleigh. This happened on Glenwood Avenue near West P Street. Police say 2 men got into a fight outside that bar. One of them ended up with a cut on their back from a knife. He needed stitches. The suspect is charged with assault causing serious bodily injury.
We are entering day 43 of the federal government shutdown, and it could be ending soon. Today, the U.S. House is set to vote on a stopgap funding bill to reopen the government. This morning, the House Rules Committee voted on party lines to advance the Senate-passed bill. The House still has to approve rules for debate before it can be voted on by the full House. That could happen as early as tonight.
Oh, Michelle, that shutdown is still causing cancellations and delays all across the country. As we take a live look here at RDU International this morning, WRAL's Laura Levine explains the problems could still hang around even if the government reopens.
Well, as of
of this morning, we're only seeing 10 cancellations and a few delays here at RDU, with TSA lines starting today pretty smoothly here. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy on yesterday urged Congress to quickly pass the bipartisan bill that would end the government shutdown and the flight disruptions that have plagued the country for nearly a week. As of Tuesday afternoon, more than 1,200 flights within the U.S. had been canceled and more than 2,000 flights had been delayed. This comes as it's been 43 days since air traffic controllers and TSA workers have gone without a paycheck. Now, barring a last-minute change, the flight reduction by the FAA is supposed to increase to 8% on Thursday and to 10% by Friday. We spoke to a traveler here at RDU who travels a lot for work, and he says he's become accustomed to the flight disruptions at this point.
We did get an email said, as of November 7th, there could be some major effect there. So I think there is going to be some lingering issues there. I don't suspect, like you say, it's not going to get fixed in a day. I think there could be some lingering effects.
A bipartisan bill still needs to be passed by the House and then signed by President Donald Trump. And even if the shutdown ends later this week, officials said that it could take much longer for the flight system to right itself and for airports across the country to fully recover. Laura Levine, WRAL News at RDU.
And funding of SNAP benefits for November are still in question. The U.S. Supreme Court has extended an order to allow the Trump administration to continue blocking a full funding of the payments. A federal judge previously ruled the government must give about $4 billion in additional SNAP funding. Last night's decision means the government does not have to do that for now. The ruling expires tomorrow night. The case would likely become moot if the shutdown ends. The bipartisan bill to reopen the government would fully fund the SNAP program through September of next year. Tuition could go up for new students at UNC system schools next fall. Today, the Board of Trustees expected to discuss the tuition hikes. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is on UNC's campus in Chapel Hill this morning. The schools are preparing for funding cuts.
Thousands of students are already waiting to find out whether they'll be accepted to UNC for next school year. Today, the Board of Trustees will discuss whether they'll be paying higher tuition costs. Right now, the board is considering a 3% tuition increase for in-state undergraduates. That's the max that's allowed under state law. They're also discussing a 10% tuition increase for out-of-state graduate students. Similar conversations are happening at NC State. They're considering upping their tuition by 3% for both graduate and undergraduate students. UNC has kept the same tuition costs since 2017. The Board of Governors has prioritized keeping rates flat for years. Brian Murphy with WRAL Investigates explains why that's changing.
That's not really an option anymore. We've seen inflation, obviously, nationwide, and state lawmakers here in North Carolina have indicated that they want the universities to raise tuition and that they are planning to cut some of their budget.
Now, that 3% increase would raise tuition by $211 a year at UNC. The 3% increase would raise tuition by $196 a year at NC State. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Chapel Hill.
Well, this morning, Border Patrol agents are headed to Charlotte to carry out ICE operations. That's according to a senior Department of Homeland Security official. Now, there's no word yet on when these operations will begin. This move follows Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino's exit from Chicago planned for this week. Charlotte will be the first city where Border Patrol has operated on its own without ICE focusing attention on the same location.
Shocking moments on board a San Francisco light rail train. I want you to look at this video here. The train was headed toward downtown San Francisco. You can see it's speeding along city streets at more than 50 miles per hour. People jolted out of their seats. Why? The driver appears to have fallen asleep. She woke up here when she realized. You can see her working to regain control of that train. In a statement, the San Francisco Transportation Agency confirms the error was a result of operator fatigue. They are working with the manufacturer on software that would limit train speeds in specific locations. So scary for those passengers.
Just to look at that.
Yeah.
Well, here's something that's not scary. Mega Millions, that jackpot nearing $1 billion. The prize for Friday night's drawing, $965 million after another drawing last night with no big winner. You may have won some smaller prizes, so you want to check those numbers. They're right there on your screen, 10, 13, 40, 42, and 46. The Mega Ball was won. Now, the next drawing is Friday night right before our 11 o'clock news on WRAL. Well, coming up, we meet this week's Teacher of the Week from Holly Springs Elementary. We'll let you know why she considers teaching a calling.
Plus, preparing for tax season, from changes in charitable giving to home energy credits. 5 on Your Side shares the big changes you need to know about before filing your taxes.
And heading to break, a sudden weather shift. You're looking live in Roxborough this morning. Today will start cold, but the Arctic air is pulling back. Ahead meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner shows us why we'll see a sudden shift back to the 60s, even the 70s.
Taking a look at Apex right now, looking at sunny skies. It's beautiful outside right now, but it is a little bit breezy. This morning wasn't quite as cold as yesterday, so temperatures are warming up a little bit faster. We're still in the low 40s everywhere, though. Durham and Holly Springs, Fayetteville, all at 40 degrees. It's 43 in Roxborough, 41 in Rocky Mount and Goldsboro. So I don't know. In the sunshine, it feels okay. Maybe it's not too cold for you to get out and do a little exercise this morning, but if you wait a little bit, it'll feel better. At lunchtime, 58, and we'll see highs in the low 60s this afternoon. That's compared to mid 40s yesterday. So definitely more comfortable, but it doesn't stop there. I'll show you why our warming trend will continue into the weekend coming up.
All right, Elizabeth, congestion definitely beginning to ease in that southern loop of the Beltline. Look at I-40 and Rock Quarry Road. Even though you're seeing no delays here around Rock Quarry Road, but you get closer to South Saunders, Lake Wheeler Road, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown in that area. That's why you're seeing a 6-minute delay this morning on that southern loop of the Beltline. We're also seeing around Wade Avenue some jam up happening right there in Wade Avenue if you're using that to get to Durham at this hour.
Yeah, I want to show you this video on the WRAL Live Center that we saw across the feed. You may have seen this on social media. Right here, this bridge collapse that is in China. This actually is a bridge that was just recently finished. A section of the bridge basically buckles and then tumbles into the water below after a landslide hit it. And you can see clearly that after the collapse happened, there was this massive plume of dust and debris. And according to Chinese state media, that bridge, again, recently completed there along one of their important highways there in their Sichuan province. But despite seeing all this, no injuries, but goodness, I guess that's kind of better, because if you look here, imagine if people were actually driving on the bridge when this happened. So it's a good thing it happened before any cars actually hit it there.
Yeah, mercifully, nobody was on that bridge. Hey, Chris, thanks. Another one of the area's biggest healthcare providers will no longer be in network for some people next year. These are people who have Medicare Advantage plans. UNC Health will no longer be considered in network for the following: Humana's Medicare Advantage, WellCare Medicare Advantage, and Healthcare Service Corporation in the new year. Now, people enrolled in Humana through the state health plan will not be affected, so keep that in mind. Letters are going out to affected patients during open enrollment.
From changes in charitable giving to no tax on tips. 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur shares 3 big changes you need to know before filing your taxes for 2025, plus how you can get your questions answered for free today.
There are several changes we all need to know about as we prepare to file our taxes for 2025. Let's first start with charitable giving. The new law changes the treatment of charitable deductions depending on whether you itemize your deduction or take the standard deduction. Most of the changes there don't go into effect until 2026, but there are actions individuals and organizations should consider taking before the end of this year that could influence how much you give. The second piece of advice, an additional deduction for seniors. The new law adds $6,000 deductions for those over 65. And what about those impacted from workers who do overtime or tips? Those changes also took effect this year, which means changes for both individuals and employers. If you heard any of these changes and thought, whoa, I need to know more about that, you can talk with a tax pro for free today. 5 on Your Side is partnering with the North Carolina Society of Enrolled Agents to answer your tax planning questions. Tax pros on call. Phone lines will be open from 4 to 7 p.m. this evening. Just call 919-234-5007 to speak with a tax professional about your questions or issues. We'll be talking all about these topics and several other changes to the standard deduction amount. That's all coming up from 4 until 7 p.m. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
Yeah, the operative term there, free. Our teacher of the week is in her 27th year as an educator all at the same Wray County school. We're at Holly Springs Elementary to surprise this longtime educator who considers teaching a calling.
You could use number line. Could you use division?
There's no question Missy Baker was born to be a teacher.
Good job. Give her a high five. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh!
Ms. Baker's third grade students are family, just like her own loved ones who dropped by for our surprise visit honoring her as our teacher of the week.
My dad loves to tell people that I'm a teacher. And so having them here and seeing this, it's just like, to me, it's kind of like their award too, because they're the ones who have supported me. And then my daughter and my grandsons are my world. What do you think you're going to have to do on this one?
For Ms. Baker, the key to her success in the classroom is about building meaningful connections with her students over the years.
I have students that still come back and see me that are seniors in high school. I still keep up with my students that are adults now. I mean, it's the relationships with the kids and the families too.
Ms. Baker's love for her students and sharing in their successes is at the heart of why she became a teacher in the first place after starting out working in a daycare center more than 30 years ago.
I just loved working with kids. I always knew that was something that I wanted to do. And honestly, I just feel like it was a calling.
Ms. Baker, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Give her a big round of applause. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
She looked so shocked. Now, if you'd like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com and a Teacher of the Week in the search box. So listen, the Holiday Express at Pullen Park is sold out, but 5 lucky families can still hop aboard. Win a family 4-pack to the sold-out Holiday Express with lights and train rides and holiday cheer. Enter now at WRAL.com/contests and watch WRAL's morning news at 6 a.m. every day next week to see if you're among our lucky winners.
Well, people in the Great Lakes region, Ken, are digging themselves out of snow this morning. This is video out of Fulton, New York yesterday. That's up near Lake Ontario. Some communities along the Great Lakes saw more than a foot of snow. Oh my goodness, what a white winter wonderland. I love the snow, Elizabeth. I'm from New York. I, grew up with the snow. I know you love the snow. Are we gonna get any?
You're not allowed to ask the meteorologist that question.
I know.
We have the Ask the Meteorologist session, but that is a question that's not allowed. No, I'm kidding. I hope so. I hope so. We shall see. As a matter of fact, we do have our winter forecast, our official WRAL winter forecast coming out in just about 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that. I'm not going to give it away. Let's talk about some of that lake effect snow. I don't have to explain it to Michelle, but for some of us may not understand, what is this lake effect snow? Well, of course, during the summertime, the lakes warm up a little bit. You go to the ocean here and it feels nice and warm in the summertime. Well, the water just doesn't cool down that quickly, so it's still a little bit on the warm side. We get these Arctic blasts that come across that warmer lake water. That warm water is evaporating up into the sky, and that cold air interacts with it and produces all this very heavy snow. And we saw that again yesterday up around New York. Now, what we're seeing is the influence of this high pressure system. That high is going to keep us nice and dry, but it's also going to help feed warmth in around that high. Around the backside of it, we have warm air that's moving its way in. In the gardens right now, it's chilly. It's 40 degrees with a southwest wind at 10 miles per hour. Theoretically, that southwest wind should be warming us up, and eventually it will. Temperatures right now are in the low to mid 40s across our area. 39 still in Apex, 40 in Garner, 41 and Wake Forest. And of course, that's a lot warmer than yesterday, around, say, 8 to 10 degrees warmer. So that's a pretty big change. But the wind chill is still making it feel like low to mid 30s as you're heading out. This afternoon, instead of 46 like we saw yesterday, we're going to climb into the low to mid 60s. So another big jump in our temperature. And we'll see those temperatures really bouncing back. By Friday, we're in the upper 60s. And as we get into the weekend, our highs are in the mid 70s again, which will be, in my book, very nice to see. We do have a weak front that comes through Sunday. That'll drop our temperatures back into the upper 60s. And just for reference, our normal high this time of year is in the mid 60s. And so much of the next 7 days ahead should feel much more comfortable.
Beautiful. Thank you, Elizabeth. Before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic coming up next.